I had this conversation with 2 different clients yesterday, and that is what I thought I would share with you today. It is the idea of using yourself as your best client case study. And this is especially if you're just starting out, if you're on your own journey and you're starting to build your audience and starting to think about how you can get in front of new people and how to really share your message and refine your message. This is going to be really helpful for you. So this is if you've ever found yourself wondering how to explain your value of what you do to potential clients, if you are not sure how to put it into words or even to refine it down. And we're all doing this all the time. I'm even doing this at the moment with really getting super clear on what a cozy business is, why it might be a solution for some people, and how that can, transform their lives, but also how they can go about starting to create a cozy business. All of these things in our minds are like, oh, that's pretty simple. That makes sense, right? But it makes sense to us because we're literally living it or have lived it. And it doesn't necessarily mean that our people actually understand or know what it is that we're talking about. Or it can be quite high level, high concept and vague, and not necessarily something that people really see the urgency or how this particular thing is going to help them fix certain things that they're looking to change or transform in their lives. So if you have had trouble putting your message into words, writing sales pages, and trying to explain the transformation of your work, turning your unique skills, the tools and experiences, methodologies that you have, this melting pot of experiences, into content or an offer that really resonates with your people, the best way that you can do this is by showing people instead of telling them. And this is something I've been talking about a lot this year. And last week, or in my last video, I shared about creating a themed 30-minute session, a free session to run with people so that you can give them a taste of what it's like to work with you. In the next video, this is becoming a little series, which I didn't realize until just before I hit record. In the next video, I'm going to talk about how you can do this in a group setting if you are someone who wants to work in a group and show people what it's like to step into your live events, your group programs, and that sort of thing. But today I want to talk about how you can document your own journey to show people what that transformation can look like. And the best place to start is with you. Of course, it's helpful to then have other people have a transformation or go on a journey with your work that you can also talk about and use as examples, but you are probably going to be your first case study. Every time I felt disconnected from my message or my audience over the past 10 years I've been in business, I look for ways to show instead of telling people what I do. This is something I learned in film school. Actually, it wasn't even film school. It was film class back in like grade 11 at school. So the outcome specific 30-minute session, as I said. And this week, talking about using yourself as a case study to document and share how you use your work in your own journey. So I want to talk about how you can deepen your connection with your tools and methodologies, create compelling content that draws the right people to you who are looking for a similar transformation, and clearly demonstrate the real world application and ripple effect of your work without feeling pushy or salesy and without having to really be an expert copywriting, marketing guru to be able to put that into words. So why should you be your own case study? I think I've kind of already explained that, but using your own tools allows you to walk your talk and connect more deeply with your work. So not only is this a brilliant way for you to create content by documenting exactly what you're doing and how it's working for you, you're also actually really in alignment with the work that you do. It makes me laugh over and over again. I work with a lot of coaches and especially a lot of energy healers. This is really a good example for you all who have these incredible modalities, and there are so many of them out there. You have incredible skill sets and tools at your disposal. And so often it's a case of, are you actually using these tools to tap deeper into the work that you do and making decisions in your business, doing things in alignment in your business. So an example of this is a few years ago, I worked with a sound healer, and I literally said the exact same thing. Like, where in your business, when you're finding you're coming up against challenges, when you're looking or feeling blocked, that you then can use your sound healing or insert other modality, life coaching, deep questions, your energy healing, body work, nervous system work, whatever it might be. And where are you using that to support yourself as you're going through your business and your work? It not only is going to be amazing for you, it's also demonstrating credibility because you're actually living the work that you're inviting people to step into. It is going to build trust with your audience that not only do you know what you're talking about and you use these tools in your day-to-day life and in your business, but they can actually see what's happening and how it works for you. And then that is so much more compelling than just telling people how it works or how it could work for them. You also refine your methodology and discover new insights by applying it in your own life. So that is just going to add a depth and a richness to the work that you're doing. And because we all have a unique skill set and set of different tools that we're all using, it is going to differentiate you from every other Reiki person out there or every other yoga teacher out there, because you're bringing your unique mix into it and able to then share in a way that it does set you apart and start to create your own framework. So this week I was talking to someone who had some questions about the next steps in their business beyond what it is that we're currently working on for a launch. And instead of coaching her, instead of strategizing and telling her what would possibly be some good options for her, I said, you have this incredible modality at your disposal that you're inviting people into. What if you spent the next couple of weeks over the holidays using that to actually find the answers to those questions, taking this time that you're off to tap into the modality that you're inviting people to step into and that you are so deeply passionate about, and use that to ask your own questions that you have and come back to me on the other side and we'll talk about it then. The other example of this is that you can then take what you're doing, document it, and share it in a way of how somebody in your audience could apply it to their situation. Now, I know for many of you in this community, you're not necessarily B2B. So you're maybe not going to tell people how you use your tools and modalities for your business and how they can then do the same, although that will definitely apply to some people. But you can say, this is where, for example, when I have a question or I'm feeling overwhelmed or my nervous system is feeling really fried and I'm really emotional or I'm really struggling, these are the things that I do. You can talk about it in the example of how you're using it in your business, because that is a huge undergoing. It is a huge creative project. It is something that invites a lot of healing and vulnerability and visibility. And so it's a really great example. And then you can talk about how your people could apply it to their situation. So in the case of this example, if you have this ability to be able to ask questions and use these tools to get really clear answers and intuitive guidance, then you can talk about it in the example of what you're doing and then say, if you have a situation like this where you're trying to figure out your next step, where you are in the middle of a big transition and you're not quite sure which way to go, you're trying to decide, am I leaving this job or staying? Am I going to be in this relationship or look for something else? Any of those life examples that we know our people are going through, we can then say, this is one way, or this is an option for how you can get those questions answered. Let me show you how I just did it in my own business, in my own life situation. So the documenting is about sharing your process and not trying to be perfect about it, not trying to be an expert or an educator even, and actually just being really open about this is what I've recently been going through. And you don't have to give all of your life story. You don't have to tell all of the nitty-gritty about it. But what you will find is that if you can bring some humanity and realness of your life situation to the story and how you have then used your modality to help you through it. And as you're documenting, you don't have to be sharing every day in the same way while you're still in it. You can give yourself some space to get a bit of distance from it if you need to. And that, I think, is very important for many of us and our nervous systems. And that allows you to be able to show people this is where I was and this is where I ended up after going through this. So some ways that you can do this is starting with where you're at. And I think this is a really great opportunity to tune in, check in, and do something that is aligned with what you would do if your client came to you in the position you're in right now. So if you were a life coach and someone came to you, the first thing you would most likely start with is figuring out their goals, figuring out where they are and then helping them to determine what are the action steps and what are the powerful questions to get them from where they are to where they want to be. So that, for example, is what you might start with for yourself. Then you can use the tools that you would share. Like, think of yourself as like, if I was my client right now, what would I do? I would bring these tools into it. I would use this methodology. And as you even document it, you could film yourself. You could use your voice notes app and actually record what you're doing as you're doing it. This is going to give you so many insights into the journey that you bring people on. And also your unique methodology will start to come out through this as well in a way that can feel really kind of guided by your own experience without, like, especially if you're nervous to do it with somebody else right now. So if you're in the really, really early stages, this is a great opportunity to do it for yourself and sort of start to get some clarity around what that journey might look like so that you can then feel a little bit more confident to talk about your work. And as you're sharing, you are then pulling pieces of like, how would this apply to my clients? How could this apply to somebody who isn't doing exactly what I'm doing right now, but they are in a similar position in their life where they're not sure what to do. From there, you can kind of reflect on what came up in today's journaling session or documenting session and start to see throughout the time that you're doing this what would be applicable to my audience. And from there, you can share snippets of that journey with some action steps to help people to take the next steps as well and to follow you on this journey. We're in the age of binge watching stuff and getting really invested in a journey. And this is the perfect way to do it. So by creating a series of installments of you sharing this journey with people absolutely love that. So you can share snippets of it on social media. Maybe you start a highlight and you just put them in your stories if that is something that feels really easy for you to get started with. Maybe you have a weekly or monthly post that you write where you give a summary of what you've been working on, what you've been going through, and some of the steps you took to help you through it to get to the next stage. Or perhaps you just record yourself, either, like I said, voice notes app, or just speaking to your camera and recording it, where you can actually share in this kind of way, this is what I've been doing, this is what I did, and this is where I am now. It makes it really relatable and it gives people a clear map of where they might want to go there. Especially if you can share some of the messy stuff. Obviously, by writing it down first, you get a bit of distance from it, and then you can decide what feels good for you to share and what you would rather not share. You don't necessarily want to just be spilling your whole life and everything that's going on the internet, and I understand that is most people, but what are the parts that are relatable, and how can you sort of show that even though you're in it, you have the tools to help you out of it? And that is how you can also support your people as well. And that gives you that before, during, after. So you might not even do it every day. It might just be a thing of like, this is where I was, this is what I did, and this is where I was on the other side. But if you can make it like a series, that also gives you a whole heap of content to work with. So for example, this month I'm going to be documenting this, or this year, please join me and I'm going to be sharing about how I did this thing in my business. It is something to invite people along on, and the more time that they spend with you, the more that they feel connected with you, and they get to really see how powerful your work is without you just having to tell them how good it is. And then this is your opportunity to really start to think about, okay, if I was guiding someone through this, what would their journey be like? How would I maybe break this down into sections? And all of a sudden, you're also going to see your framework coming together. So the example that I just shared, where if you are kind of like, oh, I don't know what my next steps are, then there are obviously different ways that you can get support with that. And there is also an opportunity for you to try this for yourself. So thinking about, what is my personal situation, and how could I relate that to what I know my clients are actively going through? For me, it might be a business related thing, but my clients may not be starting a business or in a business. So how would I relate the things that I'm experiencing with the things that they're experiencing? And most likely it is something like they're in the middle of a big transition, they're trying to start something new, they're trying to make a big decision, they're feeling really stuck or overwhelmed, and you then share what you do in these situations that then they could apply to their life. If they go and try that thing, they are going to then get a result, and then that helps them to build a connection with you where they will keep coming back and watching as well. So some questions that you can ask yourself to be able to figure out how you can apply this. What questions or struggles did you address? So what were the key themes that came up? Business being maybe the kind of main, like, real world part of it, but what was underneath that? Were you dealing with nervous system upheaval? Were you dealing with trying to make a big decision? Were you dealing with trying to figure out what the big vision was? All of those like mini themes within something that we're personally going through are the relatable universal things. And that then allows us to go, okay, for me at the moment, I can tune into that and realize that some of the challenges I'm currently having is just a lack of clarity around what my next steps are. I use these modalities, and then I can see how that would be really helpful to my audience who are, working in a job they don't enjoy and trying to decide whether they stay working there or they go through the painful process of looking for a new job. How could I apply this idea of not knowing my next steps and feeling overwhelmed about it to my people who are also feeling a similar way, just in a slightly different set of circumstances? You can then ask yourself, how does this relate to them? And how can I share this part of the story of where I'm at and then help them to apply it to their own situation? You can frame your content around them. So here's how I use this tool to answer this question. If you're feeling where they're at right now, or their pain point or their front of mind challenge, here's how it might help you too. That is the simplest way that you can put it. And then all of a sudden you have a newsletter that you can send out to your email list. You have a carousel that you can create, for example, on Instagram. You could talk about it on a podcast episode or YouTube video or blog post, whatever it is that you are creating content around, you can then take that and use it in that way. So, like I said, taking that example of what you are currently doing and then showing people how they can do the same. For example, I'm literally realistically starting to think about how I'm going to document my cozy business growth journey next year so that I can show you this thing that I'm talking about, so that I can show you how you can build content in this way, build trust with your audience by using yourself as a case study. I haven't decided for sure yet, but I'm thinking about it. Please let me know if you would be interested in that. And we've been having this conversation in Emerge and Expand lately about next year being the year of documenting. So if anyone is interested in coming on that journey, maybe we can do something a little bit more formalized in anyone who is willing to do this or wanting to try it out, that we can maybe come together and do it together. Remember, your audience isn't looking for perfection. They're looking for connection and proof that your work can make a real difference in their lives. By using yourself as your own best client, your best case study, you not only deepen your alignment with your work and your deeper healing journey, which if you've been around here for a while, you'll know that that is what I really think about business. There is a reason why we've been called to the work that we do, that we attract the people that we do, is a big part of it, our own deeper healing journey. And as we step more into that and attract more people who are quite similar to us and on a similar journey, we are then invited to go deeper and deeper. And so if we're willing to use ourselves as our own case study and use our modalities and tools that we are wanting everyone to know how amazing they are, we can do the same for ourselves, and in that embody and exemplify just how powerful these tools that we're sharing are. And I think that that is so helpful. It does deepen your own alignment with your work, but it also has powerful, authentic it also helps you to create powerful, authentic content that speaks directly to the people who need your help. So I would love to challenge you, if this is something that you're interested in, take maybe one tool, one methodology or modality that you teach and commit to using it with yourself this week. And that might be for something that you're going through right now. It might be going into the holidays and needing to just chill out and take some of that big crazy holiday energy and find a way to reduce the overwhelm, take care of your nervous system, whatever it is. Or if it's to even answer questions about what your next steps are in your business, do that. Just one little thing. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm going to do it for a whole year. It's just, I'm going to do this thing and then I'm going to journal about it or write about it or, talk it out, what happened, what I experienced. And then when you come back, if you're taking a break, come back and then you'll have a little bit of distance from it and then be able to craft that in a way to showcase to your audience how you've been using this particular tool that you really invite people to use in your life and what that did for you, how that helped you. You share that takeaway with your audience. You maybe share a next step for them. And then there's also that really easy invitation for them to come and work with you in a deeper way if they're interested in being supported through that. So if you're not sure where to start, what's one question or challenge that you're facing right now or that you're going through that a tool or modality or something that you have in your toolkit that you help your clients with could really support you with right now? I really want to hear about it. Please come into the group and let me know.